Hello YouTube, this is Darkon633, and today we're taking a look at the Transformers Generations Combiner Wars Voyager class Scattorshot. Now, unfortunately, this figure is definitely not the best by any means. While it works okay for Scattorshot, it's unfortunate that Hasbro went the cheap route and didn't even bother to retool enough to look like Scattorshot. And while, as I mentioned before, the vehicle mode looks okay, the robot mode is a bit off, and especially the combine mode where it fully takes into effect how cheap they went with the line. But besides that, we're going to take a look at the box as normal. Here's a picture of Scattorshot. A picture of, as you can see, he doesn't have his mouth, and it's just a mouth plate since they didn't even bother retooling it for some reason. And it says that he actually forms Betatron using a bunch of the other deluxes, which are based on the 86 cast, which is a bit strange. I just never really understood about this wave. They really should have just went ahead and made Computron the correct way from the get-go. Luckily, that should be remedied from what I can tell in the box set that's coming out later, which is another reason why I'm kind of annoyed that they decided to announce that box set of some sorts after I ended up getting this figure not too long ago. But anyways, because it's part of the Voyager release, it does include the trading card as normal, and self-explanatory there. And since this is a repaint and retool of the Silverbolt mold, unfortunately he does not have a unique weapon, and it's just a reuse once again of Scattershot's, sorry, not Scattershot's, Silverbolt's weapons. So it's a bit on the obnoxious side. Articulation is exactly the same as Silverbolt. His head can look quite a bit up and down. Can only move around that much. There. His shoulders are on ratchets. Can ratchet outwards as well. Does have swivels in the arms and has a 90-degree, well, just a little bit under 90-degree elbow bend there. He has ratchets in the outward hips and forward. Swivels at the legs. More than 90 degrees at the knees, and feet can pivot due to transformation, but that's about it. To transform him, it's the exact same thing as Silverbolt. First, you're gonna collapse the head. Move these out of the way. Bend these around. Collapse the feet. Open up these little back panels here. Collapse the feet all the way inside the cavity there. Move the wings out of the way to make it easier. Push these in. Then bend the wings back into place. Push this entire nose cone piece forward, snap it into place, and these will just sit on the sides of the legs as normal. And there you have Scattorshot in his vehicle mode after we put all the fin there. So there you have him fully in his vehicle mode. Now, as you can see, while they did try to kind of make it look like Scattorshot, he really needed to be his own mold, since this really does kind of look too much like Silverbolt. And it looks okay, I guess, since it does have enough to look like Scattorshot. It's just, to me, it just really doesn't scream Scattorshot as much as it really needed to. Once again, he does have landing gear at the bottom here if you wish to pull it out. But it's not really like wheels, it's just that standard landing gear, you just put it up like that. Since he doesn't have any real wheels or anything, so he can't roll across or anything. As you can see, it just slides. It's nothing really of there. And then you could just plug the weapon up here, similar to Silverbolt. So as you can see, it just has way too much Silverbolt in it to make it look like a new character. So it is a bit unfortunate that there really isn't much they could have done with this particular mold to turn it into Scattorshot, so they really needed to make a new mold for him. I'm just going to quickly transform him back, which is very simple. And besides that, I guess it's a good look at Scattorshot on its own. Obviously, the combine mode is where I personally think is where it hurts the most. It could have done a lot better with a brand new head, which hopefully they'll be remedying it with the box set. Even if I end up having to get another Scattorshot, I'd probably just have to deal with it at this point. Maybe just get some more limbs to just turn this guy into what they wanted to produce it as, Betatron. But it is really strange what they did with Scattorshot, since it's very simple to just release a version of the other limbs and just retool and repaint as they normally did. So I really do not understand why they made it so difficult to actually go ahead and make a new mold at least once more for the new character. But I guess it does kind of work out so far, and I've pretty much got to leave it down to how the box set version of Computron's going to look like in its entirety to really have a full effect of how I think of the mold itself. But once again, as a standalone figure, it's very weak. It doesn't really work so well as Scattershot, even though the vehicle mode is pretty decent. So, in terms of recommendation, it's kind of hard to say that, since, as I mentioned earlier, it's just kind of fails slightly just being Scattershot entirely. But I guess for those who are fans of the Combiner Wars line and don't really care for, I guess, Computron or something, I guess it's just worthwhile just as a figure alone. It's probably something you could just put onto display and so on, just leave it as is. But once again, I will have to show my final thoughts of it once we finally get to see how it looks like combined into the full Computron. I actually got this at BBTS along with Onslaught, so you can actually see Onslaught in the following week. But for now, once again, this is just kind of a weak figure, and I guess we'll just leave it on from there. So anyways, please comment, subscribe, and check out Hirotaku, and hopefully this video will be up there eventually soon. Also, please check out me on Twitter under Darkon633, and please check down the other channels down below, including the WW Podcast and more. And next week, we'll be looking at more reviews, but for now, I'll be seeing you YouTube. Bye.